Series Evil Lynx 2, The Haunted Investigation, Episode 8, Horrific Mystery, The Horrifying Puppets, and the Cat God's Curse. As Alyssa ran, she turned to Camilla and asked, "What happened to you? What attacked you?" Camilla panted, her voice trembling. It was like a creature, terrifying. It had green eyes, like the thing that attacked you at the abandoned house. Alyssa stopped in her tracks. "Green eyes," she whispered, sensing the oddness in Camilla's words. At the same moment, Nick abruptly asked, "Alyssa, how did you know Nancy and I were here and texted us to come to the abandoned field?" Alyssa gasped, her eyes widening in confusion. "Texted? I didn't send you any messages. I didn't even know the two of you were in this city." Nick froze, his eyes locking with hers, full of doubt and concern. Who sent the message? And how did Camilla know about the green-eyed creature that attacked Alyssa in the house? Only Nick and Nancy knew about that, as Alyssa and Camilla had been separated at the time. Confusion welled up inside Alyssa. Her gaze slowly shifted toward Camilla, suspicion creeping into her mind. Was the person standing in front of her truly Camilla, or had something terrible happened that she hadn't yet realized? Suddenly, the dark cave lit up, a cold glow from old torches lining the stone walls, illuminating the gloomy space. In front of them stood a giant statue of a cat deity, its glowing green eyes piercing the darkness and adding weight to the oppressive air. The woman in the red dress said nothing, merely glancing at them with sharp eyes before turning back, folding her hands in reverence in front of the statue. Her lips murmured unfamiliar phrases in a language none of them could understand. Nick, Alyssa, and Nancy stood frozen in place, their eyes filled with fear and confusion. It felt as if they were being drawn into a bizarre ritual where life and death mingled in the shadows. Alyssa held her breath as her eyes passed over Camilla. Camilla's face had turned pale, lifeless, her skin ashen like someone long dead. She moved stiffly, hollow, as if controlled by some invisible force. "Camilla," Alyssa called out, her voice trembling. But Camilla didn't respond. She simply walked toward the statue, then suddenly collapsed next to the strange items scattered on the ground. Ghastly child puppets with no legs, their twisted faces blank with empty eye sockets and gaping mouths, as if silently screaming. Nancy clutched Alyssa's hand tightly, tears welling in her eyes. "What's happening? Camilla, she's not the same anymore." Nick took a step forward, but immediately felt the air grow cold around him. He stepped back, unsure of what to do. She's no longer Camilla," he whispered, despair creeping into his voice. By the cat statue, the woman in the red dress suddenly let out a sharp, eerie laugh, the sound chilling and jarring. Her eyes glowed in the darkness, her gaze sharp and predatory. Then she slowly turned, her eyes stabbing into Alyssa, Nick, and Nancy, freezing them in place. "You're too late," her raspy voice echoed, oozing power. "Her soul has belonged to me for a long time." Alyssa felt each word like a cold blade slicing into her heart. Her legs felt glued to the ground, her body trembling uncontrollably. Her gaze shifted to Camilla, now no longer the person she once knew. Camilla lay collapsed at the foot of the statue, her face pale, her eyes vacant, her body stiff, as though she were a puppet controlled by a sinister force. Camilla had been manipulated ever since that fateful night, when she and her son encountered the cat-faced woman. It hadn't been a chance meeting. Everything had been planned, and Camilla was merely a pawn in her twisted game. after turning to the medium Lynn Lambert for help, hoping to find answers to her haunting nightmares and locate her son. Camilla had no idea that Lynn Lambert was the embodiment of the cat-faced woman, an ancient being carrying a dangerous curse. The ritual that Lynn Lambert performed wasn't meant to reunite Camilla with her son. Instead, it was designed to fully claim Camilla's soul. The ancient incantations chanted amidst flickering candles, the spirit appearing during the seance, and the sighs from the unseen realms were all deceptions. Camilla's soul had been severed from her body in that ritual. Though her body continued to exist, her soul had fallen under the control of the cat-faced woman. Every action Camilla had taken since was part of a carefully laid plan to lure Alyssa, Nick, and Nancy to this very moment, where they would face a similar fate. The cat-faced woman had orchestrated everything. Camilla, or rather her shell, was the bait, leading them to believe they could solve the mystery. But in truth, they had been ensnared in the trap long ago. Alyssa, Nick, and Nancy stood in shock, their hearts heavy with dread. Now they realized that everything they had experienced, from the whispers in the wind, the haunting green eyes, to the mysterious text message, was all part of the cat-faced woman's plan to corner them, leaving no way out. The cat-faced woman's gaze lingered on them, filled with triumph. "You are nothing more than pawns in my game. Your souls will be the final offering to the cat god, and then I will attain eternal immortality." Her chilling laugh echoed through the dim space, each word cutting into the deepest corners of their fear. Then she waved her hand, and Nick suddenly froze. His eyes went blank, drained of life. He turned to Alyssa and Nancy with a cold, unfamiliar expression. "Nick, stop!" Alyssa screamed, but it was in vain. Nick, now controlled like a puppet, slowly turned to grab a sharp knife from the altar inside the cave. Without hesitation, he lunged toward Nancy, his empty eyes devoid of the brother Alyssa once knew. Alyssa frantically tried to pull Nancy out of the way, but Nick was too fast. Just as the blade was about to strike Nancy, a loud noise rang out, and a man emerged from the shadows. It was Detective Ash. He rushed in, using all his strength to shove Nick away. Nick staggered, but didn't stop. He continued to advance, his soulless gaze locked on them. In the struggle, Nick's knife grazed Nancy's arm, leaving a deep gash. Blood poured from her wound, dripping onto the damp ground. In that instant, a blinding light burst forth from beneath Nancy's feet. The entire cave seemed to tremble, and from deep within the light, Nancy's agonized scream echoed, cold and heart-wrenching. Ash, Alyssa, and even Nick, though under control, turned to look at Nancy in terror. In that glow, they saw her body rapidly withering, her life force drained, her eyes emptied, and within moments, she collapsed lifeless to the ground. "Nancy!" Alyssa screamed in despair, but it was too late. Nancy's body had become nothing more than an empty shell, her life force cruelly sucked away by the cat-faced woman's dark power. The cat-faced woman smiled, satisfied. "This is only the beginning. You cannot escape your fate." At that moment, Alyssa and Ash realized they were standing inside a large circle, marked with strange symbols etched deep into the ground. The symbols emitted a ghostly light, as if coming to life from the surrounding shadows. Nancy's blood had activated them, draining her life force in the dark ritual to which they had unknowingly become victims.